Good morning. It's now Sunday, July the 16th, 2000, and we're heading down the Parks Highway, Alaska route number 3. This goes down to Denali and eventually Anchorage. We won't be going that far. Just out for a morning spin before our afternoon attraction of the day. It's about 350 miles to Anchorage if you were to continue down this highway.
A recent hit from my co-host Montgomery Gentry, that is Daddy Won't Sell the Farm. And back to this week's countdown, we're at number 8 along with the guys. Eric,
another beautiful day. Very pleasantly surprised at how nice the weather has been so far. Hopefully our luck will continue throughout the trip.
Let me set this while we're hanging. Let me set this piano up. Wildlife running free from Anchorage up to Juneau, the pipeline's a sight to see. How I love Alaska, Alaska's home to me. Take a ride on the Chena River, on the riverboat Discovery 3. So much to see there, you'll remember. It's a part of Fairbanks history. How I love Alaska, Alaska's home to me. From the northern lights to long summer days and wildlife running free. From Anchorage up to Fairbanks, Denali's a sight to see. How I love Alaska, Alaska's home to me. From the northern lights to long summer days and wildlife running free. How I love Alaska, Alaska's home to me. Hope you like that. Oh, thanks, that's okay. I see you smile. Smile's plenty. It's worth 100 handshakes and claps, like smile. The other thing I was mentioning that Alaska has accepted. From the great Atlantic Ocean to the wild Pacific shore, as it flies along the woodlands through the hills and by the shore. Hear the mighty rush of the engine, hear the lonesome hobo call, traveling through the jungle on the Wabash Cannonball. Wait there, don't move it, we'll finish it on the way down. I'm not gonna dare mess with your panning time. I'll play it on the fiddle on the way down, okay? Let's check our watches, please. Remember, you're on the A train. Check your doors and make sure they're latched up because of the great speed of this train. Let's have a lot of fun, everybody. I'm gonna ask for a couple hellos and waves. Please do that with me. I want to keep our sourdough hospitality going here for you. Roger up front started it all today by fixing this for me. I'm really thankful. He's going to give you a double whistle from all of us here at the Eldorado station. That's another good afternoon from all of us. And Billy's coming out, our Eldorado stage. She says, we got thumbs up. There we go, folks. Brace yourself. Okay, Roger. Now they spend their wintertime digging, summertime washing because of the permafrost. It was very expensive for that shoring and timbers that they had down in these tunnels and shafts. But they figured out if they can dig in the wintertime and use the strengths of the permafrost, all they have to do all summer long is cover them up just to keep them cool and don't let any rain down. By digging down to the bedrock, you can be from ground level to depths of 180 feet in this valley here. The first discovery shaft we're going to show you now can be coming into view on your left here, dug by the Swedes here in November of 1903. It's only 18 feet deep, and as we go by, I will talk about it, describe it for you. If you want to get your cameras ready, we'll be going about the same speed as we go by here. You can click your camera and remember speeds, because you take so many pictures in Alaska. I'll help you remember this one.
Get the big picture.
I might need just a little bit of volume on here. We have a couple of our young miners here waiting for us so you can see an operation. It's a bucket on a spindle. It's called a windlass, and it's just a way of bringing the material up. It's got 18 feet of rope on to show you that this particular discovery shaft is very shallow. See, they're digging down to the bedrock, and the bedrock's right here. This is the spot at 18 feet. Stockpile of material. This is a winter operation. We need a fire tent to keep warm. Runner board for the wheelbarrow. Adam's doing that one. And this is another Adam here letting the bucket back down on the spindle. Once they let the bucket all the way down, they've made steps. They go down. They fill the bucket up. And it's kind of cute, folks. The reason why they call it a double windlass, there's two arms for starters. And they fill the bucket up so full, they always overfill it. By the time they get done winding it up, they're at a wind. That's what the old timers told me. Nice, guys. Good afternoon. We'll touch the segments because they've been treated so there's no ammonia or sulfur smell. It's going to be probably 10 or 15 degrees cooler. Perfect good air conditioning when we're down here. I'll bring a light up once we get inside and introduce you to Jeff. He's going to be on your right. Here's the top here, show you how shallow we are, okay? We cut a hole through the bottom part of the mountain, covered it over and reinforced it with concrete and steel for your safety. I know you're going to hear a lot of noise, a little bit back and forth here and there, but that's just all characteristics of trains. We will be stopping. The brakes making a little noise, but they do work. Got some lightest segments once you get in here a little ways, so you can look at some of the very old strata. There's a few bones here coming up right beside me on the left. There's a little below eye level. That's from a 3-tour horse. We left them right in a second so we can get a peek at them, two of them. Now on your right here, coming into view,
There's the bones. See the bones?
you're going to see our young miner. I think it's Tim. It's Jeff. We have a couple of our guys here. This is Jeff. He's actually finishing up sampling a little material. The light he's got on his head lantern right now that clips on the hard hat is a carbide lantern. The type of lighting they're used to working with. So be ready for the stop. When he says good afternoon to you, we'll give him a big hello in return, okay? Okay, you folks on the left up and down the cars can stand up now if you need to, okay, just to get a good view. Give me just a second here. Jeff, I want to say good afternoon to you. I got a great group of folks here visiting the Eldorado. I had a chance to visit with them for a little while. Would you mind taking some of your time down here now and talk about our tunnel drift money for the A train?
Sure, no problem. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Wow. Well, as Earl said, I'm here to share with you a bit about how they did tunnel drift mining back in the old days. Now, as Earl has probably already mentioned to you, those miners spent their winters digging. They would begin by digging shafts, straight downward, until they had bedrock. Behind me here against the wall, you can see what that bedrock looks like. Down below here is the bedrock. It forms a line that goes up this way and down over there. Can everyone see that line? Well, there's you in the back of the train, where the same formation is easily visible in that far right face. When those miners were digging these tunnels, what they were looking for, of course, is gold. And as they knew, that heavy gold was free and allowed to settle and trickle down through all this material into pockets, such as these. Now these pockets are what the miners are after, and that's why they dig down there this far. But an obvious problem they faced was getting through all the material above it, which at first was really difficult for them. Because during a period of time known as the Ice Age, all of this material froze solid and became known as permafrost. Well, the solution they found to permafrost was steam. So up above on the surface, they would fire up a boiler, which would then produce steam and come along these black steam lines here and move out to points, like this one. They would simply use that steam to thaw away the walls and ceilings so they could chip and scoop up the material and haul it to the bottom of these shafts and ore carts along these railways here. Well, even with the easier methods of getting through the permafrost, it was still a lot of exhausting work for them to get down here. So they would look for signs, especially from good old Mother Nature, to tell them more precisely where to dig for the gold. In particular, what those miners would look for is other mineral deposits, like the one you'll see over here. This is a zinc deposit. Can everyone see this big bluish vein? Now there are some other minerals in here as well, to name a few. Some lead, a little silver, and antimony. None of it's quite worth mining though. But it is certainly enough to indicate that gold is nearby, because gold is commonly associated with these other minerals. So up above on the surface, when a miner would spot these veins, they would dig down here and branch out in several directions along this floor and search for their gold pay. It looks like I'm going to show you one of the ore carts now, and some of the stones you've seen quite a bit around here. Morning, boys. Afternoon, evening. Well, at first glance, a lot of these stones are pretty plain looking. But if you take some and dust them off, they shimmer somewhat. Can everyone see that sparkle? There's a lot of different names for this material. One of them is mica. You're going to hear that name used quite a bit around here, especially when you're gold panning later on. Because mica is going to appear in abundance in your pan, and it's going to shine like this, especially when it's wet and clean. But don't be fooled in believing it's gold, because it isn't. It's basically just decomposed, broken down bedrock, just like the stuff I pointed out over there. Now for being a rock, it's fairly flaky and fragile. A quick test is to take any little piece and try to break it. It does break up and crumble away. It's mica, and certainly not gold. Gold is a very soft and malleable metal. It would bend before it ever break. Now another interesting term for this material, and to perhaps make my point a bit more clear, is liberate. In other words, leave it right there in the pan. She's worthless. Ooh, tough crowd, Earl. Thanks, boys. Haul this one up. As you can imagine, pushing these ore carts around took a lot of work. They're headed up to the surface with that load, and I'll join them in a moment to show you some of the above ground operations. Besides me here is a bone pot. These are the skeletal remains. We happen to have a small tusk fragment from one of those mammoths. It's quite a prize for us. Universities across the country collect these remains for study, but due to the heavy abundance of these remains from regions like this, they only take the most extraordinary finds. So, we're allowed to keep this one here for you guys to view. Up above at camp, we have more bones like this for you to look at.
You got sunglasses, you can put them back on now. You can use them for about another 11 hours. Okay. Now, folks, we're going to pass over a bridge here. The creek's going to wind underneath us to our left. And once we get over the bridge and get stopped, I want to point out a couple things for you. Looking down at the creek here, you're going to see a piece of equipment right at the edge of the creek, and that piece of equipment is very portable. It's got a nickname called a rocker box because it's going to rock when it works. I'm going to show you that in just a second here. And then look at our miner's cabin as we come up to our stop. It's built right inside the mountain. They do that a lot. They're easier to keep them warm this way during the cold winter temperatures. Once we get stopped, the folks on the right stand up. Okay, just hang on to the bars and look across here. Let's see who I've got. This is Adam. Give him a hello for me. Say hi, Adam. Hi. See, he's not supposed to smile. You got him smiling already. Look at that. Adam, go ahead, please. We'll demonstrate the rocker box for the folks. He's got some material all ready to go from the creek in the bucket. He puts it in the top of it. That's the screen area. Inside, they look like bars or ribs, and they're called ripples, mining term. Sometimes made out of steel. These are made out of wood. It's going to rock on the rockers as we work it, adding water on the top of the screen so you can see what's happening. We're getting a separation. The top part is a screen area. It'll catch large rocks, and now and then a good-sized piece of gold that travels down over top of the wood ripples, working on the fact I mentioned in the beginning. Gold is 19.3 times heavier than water. Now we'll get a gold pan, take some of the material from the ripple area, and for all that can see, we'll give you a panning demonstration. I'll kind of talk it through for those who are back here where I am, just barely can make it out. Get a lot of water in there. First, remember, see the jostling action. That'll ensure you'll get the gold to the bottom. He's pretty quick at this panning. I didn't see any good-sized rocks, or he would have already washed them out in the water. So now we're just letting the water come in like a light wave and working. That side-to-side action. Take a little bit of dirt at a time and just have lots of patience, you guys. You'll see some excellent panning demonstrations. Nothing in that one, Adam? Okay. Thank you very much. Good job. I think I mentioned that all these young people working on high school and college and taking mining and tourism, so they really enjoyed meeting you guys. We don't get much of a turnover. I've just noticed every year they get bigger. Thanks, Adam. Myself, once or twice, I've been here almost 18 years, I've had to rely on finding one of these cabins to get warm for a little while when my snow machine ran out. So there's a fair amount of the stuff in the valleys here. We're good.
Just like with the guys are pushing along the tunnel. David, then lower one of these mud buckets down. Unload door car of the bucket, where they hoist it back up, catch some top, start pulling back down, and track. Extracting the gold from these piles required a great amount of high water pressure. So the miners' summer work begin by trenching for miles at the top of these high ridges. The trenches would serve to collect and channel millions of gallons of water downhill to these hydraulic water cannons. These cannons were used to blast the piles clean and wash all the gold out through nearby sluice boxes. In the old days, the sluice boxes were pretty crude and simple. They were made of wood and had wooden riffles and borax to catch all the gold. Nowadays, they're made of steel and have steel riffles. Hey, whole hillsides would be cleared to keep this beast fed. That's why it's commonly called a dragon, because it eats a lot of wood.
Easiest place in the world to find it. You're going to hear that word plaster a lot, so let's get that out of the way. The word itself comes down from a mixture of French.
I'll let you know also, our season, go ahead and come back away from, we're going to have the back over. If you would come back around, please. Our season is 5 months long, it's 7 days a week, it's usually a 14-hour day, and it's constantly washing the pay dirt we've identified in this sluice for this washing action. The ore that's coming out is called concentrates, washed in the riffle action. This is the top foot of the box. It is the riffled part of the box. So you're going to see the gold come out. Crew is setting up tubs. If you haven't panned before, this is your chance to see just how to move that water.
For gold. Took me over 20 years to figure that one out. Once you get settled in, dump the entire full sack of concentrate into your gold pan at the same time, toss the bag aside, fill the pan with water, and start to swirl it around. You hear that grinding sound, Haley? That's your first sign that everything's going just right. Keep swirling. There you are. Panning for gold and laughter. Sort of looks like much super rock, doesn't it, Tyler? But that's what it should look like. The soupier the better. Or Corey, I'm sorry. Tyler here this morning. All right. Now we're going to stop the shaking and go take some of that top layer off. See, the gold is going to go down into the bottom of the pan. Make that real soupy. The gold goes to the bottom, so now we start to wash away the top. This action here reminds me of a wave coming in out of an ocean at the beach. The wave just picking up the lighter top sands and gravels in the gold pan, bringing them right back into the wash tub with each wave. There's going to be some larger rocks. The wave doesn't carry out. Leave a little water in your pan to rinse them. It's okay to pick them out one at a time. As you get a little more experience, you learn to rake those larger rocks together. Either way you take them out, make sure you rinse them carefully before you take them out of the pan. Add a little water, right back to making soup. You're grinding, going good. Once again, full detail. When it's grinding, the easiest way to keep it grinding while getting ready for the beach is to take the pan from side to side. Don't start to tip the pan. Doesn't matter which way you tip it, so long as you stop shaking before the soup gets to the edge. Then let all the water off the top. Holding the pan at about the same angle as when the water left, it's back to the beach and dip. This is a gentle beach, not a hurricane or a tropical storm in sight. Watch for the gold to show where the pan and the concentrate meet. If you see the gold, that means it's time to make the soup. Resist the temptation to pick the gold out one speck at a time. Then to go back to the bottom. Return to the beach to wash away the new top layer. So it's like a game of hide and seek. Every time you see the gold, you want to wash it down into the bottom. Over at the beach, wash away the top layer. Bigger stones starting to build up. Just a little water to rinse them. Break them back, or pick them out, get them clean, get them out of there. And it is soup time again. You see how simple this really is? Well, maybe by the time we get up in the panning area, there's a bit of a knack to it. The panner's helpers to your rescue. At the sluice box today, Phil, Charlie, and Steve are going to next lead the way to and hand out the folk sack to concentrate. Then they'll join the cook shack crew and the better coach commanders in the panning area, ready and willing to help anybody what needs it. Now, if you're waiting for help or just not sure what to do, remember the big rocks? They just keep getting smaller. Anytime you leave a little water in the pan, flatten everything back, you'll see if you got any bigger stones sticking up. Here at the end, I'm always Gold will be down underneath the dirt. Now the dollar value of this gold, you kind of figure that, but first she's going to get all the gold together. One pan. After the presentation, she will stand by for pictures of all that gold. Then she's going to take it inside and weigh it. Using market price gold, $2.80 an ounce on Friday. The purity, of course, gold you find here coming right out of the ground, a natural alloy with silver. Your jeweler would want to call this about 21 karat gold. Around here we think of it as brand new money.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, good too.
Ooh, nice pen. I like seeing this stuff coming out like this. We've been in the ground for over 2 months now, or about at 2 months, and it's coming up richer now. We're working our way more into pastry.
Well, I finished panning for gold. Found a few nuggets. Here at the Eldorado gold mine, just north of Fairbanks.